Lumos. Hello friends, welcome to Shell Cottage Radio. I'm your host Ezra, aka Bill, also known as your friendly tech wizard, the former captain of the Hufflepuff Quidditch team, the Flannel Wizard, yours truly, Moa. Please welcome your lovely design witch, the fascination of 4th year, and my wonderful co-host and yours, Lottie, aka Fleur.
Hiya! Schön, dass ihr da seid. Willkommen zurück to our little cottage on the outskirts of Tinworth. Come on in. This is the 20th episode of Shell Cottage Radio. Let's go.
What?
And we will discuss Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Chapter 12, The Mirror of Erised.
Wow.
Before we fire up today's chapter discussion, we do a short little cottage catch-up.
Short.
Quiz.
It's quite short.
Oh, yeah. It's always short, right?
Yes.
Then we'll quiz Bill with some trivia questions and expand our knowledge about magical and fantastic beasts.
Hey, we mentioned it here. We mentioned it over when we did our episode on Bend the Knee. We mentioned this just the other day. So if you're here from that episode, welcome. We're glad that you're here in our little shell cottage. Okay, a little family podcast. Some of them are like hearing Ez for the first time over here on this going, what? What? Ez talks about something besides Game of Thrones?
What?
Yes, I do. Okay. But we mentioned on that episode just the other day, God bless the Queen.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's sad.
yeah, I think of her when I think of, Harry Potter and I think of the Queen.
Absolutely, yeah.
And all that. So
Those are, things when you think about the UK in general. I mean, I think about Scotland all the time, too.
yeah.
Because it's so beautiful. But I also think about London. I love London. And I'm so excited to go to London next year with you.
Yeah.
And,
Did you hear that
but
noise?
you're, the coffee noise?
Did you hear the
Oh.
here, let me, it's like a weird like a sucking. Sorry, that's like a.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a little side escape.
Oh,
thing.
see, I don't even notice it anymore because, I hear that all the time.
Not to, yeah, but on the microphone, I was trying not to do. Sorry about that. Distracted. Yeah, sorry. Back to we love England.
Yeah.
London. All of it.
Yeah, so much that we might just go there and live there for a little bit in the future.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, we say that all
honestly.
the time, but
honestly,
we are going to do it.
yeah, we are going to do it. Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for bearing with us. By the way, this episode's a little bit late. We're going to be turning right back around the next day after we post this. We'll be recording the following chapter so we can get back ahead and right back on schedule. So we're off by about 2 to 3 days here. But we just got back from a wedding this past weekend, and it was crazy. And we've been talking about schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It is wild how quickly, we took recording equipment. We had other things to do. Every day we had friends to meet. Every day we had something to do.
Which was great. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fantastic. Congrats to my good buddy Matt and his wife Teresa.
Yeah.
So cool. So it was a beautiful wedding. Wonderful time out there. And yeah, enjoyed it.
Yep.
At the same time, we also met a good friend of mine, Travis Sigler.
Travis.
So he runs a company called Weird Mead and Leather.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
it's WYRD. Wow.
Whoa.
That was weird.
That's awkward. But it's really cool. Like he makes mead, and they do all sorts of different stuff. We tried some, and it was good.
Oh, it was so good. I've never ever
Really
tried
good.
different kinds of mead.
Didn't even know what. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever tried it.
I only tried hot mead.
Okay, yeah.
On German Christmas markets.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was it. And they do different flavors. They do fantasy themed, and they have an awesome little bar in Portland where you have to go downstairs. Upstairs is a little coffee shop.
Right.
You wouldn't even be able to tell.
It's like going into the Wizarding World,
It
isn't it?
is. You go in there and you feel like I would say back in Orlando.
Yeah, you're transported. You're in there. There's medieval swords and stuff on the wall. There's There's wizard staffs. I mean, there's a gift shop in there with tons of like leather work, and there's cool mead stuff in there. It honestly is just super cool. Yeah, can you pull up his Instagram? Maybe?
I'm trying, so I can.
And we can. So we do this sometimes where we're like mid talking about someone. We're like, oh yeah, what's their handle? Let's go get it. We'll put the link in the description for you guys because we'd actually like to have Travis on at some point just to talk about his favorite.
He loves Harry Potter.
Loves Harry Potter.
And
such a fandom guy.
And he does cosplay a lot. And I'm like, we have
really good cosplay too.
And oh my gosh, he knows some people who does it also really, really well. And we saw some amazing. He did Voldemort, right?
Voldemort,
and some of his friends did Snape and Dumbledore.
Right.
They looked so stunning.
Yeah.
And we have a little vision because I'm so happy. I know this is slightly off topic, but I am so happy to announce that we have another guest next weekend.
Yeah.
So not this for you. The episode next Wednesday will just be us.
Right. Yeah.
And then
sorry, just awesome, bro.
And then a week later, you will hear an episode with Hufflepuff Melissa, who is an Instagrammer. She has an awesome Instagram account, super cool, super inspiring, and she is a collector, and she has her own business with like sweatshirts and t-shirts and all that stuff. And we have this vision of bringing people on because the fandom, it's not just reading the books and talking about them and the movies and stuff, but also all different niches within the fandom, like cosplayers, artists, musicians, collectors. We love that kind of stuff, and every little bit brings the wizarding world to life, and it's just fun to talk about it. So I can't wait to have them on, her on, Melissa. And then one day Travis, and hear what he has to say and how he got into cosplay and all that stuff. And just real quick, so we're gonna mention his handle here. So it's weird. It's WYRD_leather_and_mead. So we'll put a link down there for you guys. But it's Weird Leather and Mead, based out of, so it's handmade leather goods, locally brewed mead shop in Portland, Oregon. And they're just hustling like crazy. So he and Christian, shout out to Christian, who is also going through Harry Potter right now. They're driving to work listening to the audiobook together. So his partner in crime is listening to Harry Potter right now. So maybe we could bring him on there. I think that'd be so fun. It was just such a delight to meet them.
Yeah.
And hear their story and how they got into that. And they were also into like Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Oh, he's hugely into that. He knows some of the voice actors.
I felt a connection there because he was like, he loved it. He had even a tattoo of Iroh.
Yeah, Uncle Iroh.
Oh my gosh. That was like
White Lotus tea.
So awesome.
I think he named one of his drinks after it and stuff too. So just an awesome guy. Go check out his Instagram. See if you can find the photo of me on there and like it. Trying to get those likes up on that photo. Okay, so I'm just kidding. He's got tons of followers and really cool people on there. While we were there, we actually saw two cosplayers come in, Hellboy and Jesus.
Oh yeah, and they took pictures together and stuff.
It's hilarious. I was like, wow.
I think they travel together.
Friends.
And they even shot like a little video because Travis said a lot of cosplayers just come in and take pictures and videos and stuff because the ambience in there is so awesome. You feel like you are in a medieval bar, and you have like Game of Thrones stuff and Lord of the Rings stuff, and they play music from all the different fandoms in there all night.
Yeah, they do. They had a bit of Rings of Power.
I wish they had that in Columbus.
Yeah, they had all sorts of. I do too. I really do too, because it was cool. Having those themed bars is really neat. So, but shout out to him. It was a great trip. It just was. We were talking about like how much that affected the following week.
Yeah.
And that all of you out there, all of you adults know, like something like that happens, you're like, okay, the next week is just crazy, and then you need like another week to catch up and get back on track. And then. Yeah, because I'm staying up late to record House of the Dragon on Sunday nights.
Oh, so much is going on.
Recording the Hobbit Hotline with my good friend Lane on an
which is awesome
podcast. Yeah, which is crazy. And then we're recording this now, and then later tonight we're going to be talking about episode 3. Lottie will be over on what is it? It's Lord of the Rings watch party.
Yeah, on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah, she's the newbie on their newbie panel.
Yeah, I got to go on there and check the
Discord.
Yeah,
the stuff.
Good reminder. But yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of you. You have so many different projects. You are the hub for many different things, and you have a network.
It is really neat because I've met like a lot of you, and I've just enjoyed all of it. I had Lane and I were actually doing the episode for the Hobbit Hotline, and we had Phil Seidel from History of Middle Earth call in. We hadn't talked to him in 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, and it was really cool to have him call in, and just cool to connect with old friends that we hadn't really talked to in years. And things kind of come up, and some people come and go from different projects or whatever. You get busy, you start a different job, your work schedule changes. But I don't know. It's just kind of neat over the years, I think, to connect with those people and learn about each other and stuff.
Yeah, and they all listen to you, have their own lives, and drive to work or something, and then
a lot of them never say anything. I have no clue,
and
which
then
is
they
fine.
call in and you hear their voices for the first time, even though sometimes people just write to you a couple times, right? And you kind of know their names, and then you hear their voices for the first time. That's awesome.
Right.
I think that was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm really glad that you're kind of we're pushing ourselves out there to really get to know a few more creators and stuff like that, and people who are in the fandom, and like hanging out with the allotments was awesome, and then having our friends on the show and hoping to have more people on is just a.
You just said allotments.
Yeah.
Christine, did you see that picture? She did is it called crochet?
Crocheting, yeah.
Oh my gosh, she bought the book with us at Paragraphs.
Yeah.
And she already got the trio done and posted a picture on Instagram. Oh, it looks so cool.
Oh, that's cool.
It looks amazing. And she said, I said, wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
She was like, once I get into it, I just need to finish it. So that
good
was
for her.
really, really
that's cool. See, it's just so neat. It's fun to kind of build community and stuff like that. And I love it.
And this is our latest little project. I mean, for me, it's my first project.
Yeah.
With you, and for you, it's just a new little podcast,
but it's my family podcast,
right?
Though.
And this is something we want to just keep doing over the years, and just
it really is. And like I'm going to be starting, and I'm going to go ahead and say it here, just for some folks, because I am actually going to start my own Star Wars podcast. I run one with my good buddy Matt, but I also because of schedule, I'm going to have Lottie on, different folks who like Star Wars. I've already been doing a lot of different things in that realm, so now I'm announcing that later. Here in the fall, but I kind of waited over the summer and waited till I got back from the wedding and all this different stuff to announce some other projects. But you guys know about Harry Potter Hangout, and then I'll announce all my Star Wars stuff in the next couple of weeks, because now that I'm back, I feel like I can settle in, get used to school again, and just get back after it. But we are I don't know, it's just fun. It's just fun to get into a grind. We're waiting for Hogwarts Legacy. We're getting ready for the holidays. We're getting ready for fall, which is such a great time. I don't know, it just would be really cool to. It'd be even fun to down the line to have some actual Harry Potter hangouts,
Yes.
Whether it's virtually and just sort of, we all make a Harry Potter drink or themed drinks or something and just celebrate. By the way,
that'd be fun.
I'm trying to. So I just said that, and I'm we're going to be spending a lot of time up here in our little studio we have right now,
little cottage
and I've
studio.
got to get I just talked to my dad about this.
Yeah.
If he could help me install a air conditioner unit.
Because it's hot up here
right now. Do you hear me struggling to talk?
Yeah.
What's going on? Is it allergies or what? Did I just wake up with something?
I don't know. It's late, and it's lack of sleep, probably.
It's a lot of things,
First
crazy.
months of school, back into school.
I lost my voice earlier this week during school.
Yeah.
That was crazy. So, all right. Well, hey, sorry, I'm going to quit rambling, and because I can't talk right now. So, what's up? What's next?
What's next? Well, are we done with the ketchup? No mustard?
Yeah, if you want some mustard, go for it. I don't know what else is there. There's probably tons of things we could go on and on about, but
ketchup and mustard. I love it.
I'm just struggling to breathe and talk over here.
All right, then. I guess we can just move on to the trivia training, because we have lots to do and lots of fun stuff planned. And I think since you're sweating already, I'm just gonna go ahead with it. Sweetie, do you remember what color is Harry's Weasley sweater that he gets from Molly Weasley for Christmas in this book?
In this book, I think it's burgundy. I don't know. Is it blue?
I thought so too before I wrote the chapter, but it is
gray.
It's emerald.
It's green?
Yeah.
What?
Because in the book it's totally not, I think.
You mean in the movie?
I'm trying to remember.
You mean in the movie? It's not.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. I was like, so hold on a second. You said about trivia question.
In my head, in the book, it was not Emerald.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Emerald, yeah. So if we ever participate in one of those bar crawls with trivia, Harry Potter trivia,
then we know
that question gets asked. I mean, that's what I'm doing here. I'm preparing us for that moment.
Yeah.
Every time we do that. And you guys who are listening.
Right. You go out there and you get into some of your trivia. You're like, well, hey, thanks to Shell Cottage Radio, I now know a few of these things. So. Actually, most of you probably knew that one. That's just on me. You know?
I
don't know either, right? I think a lot of people might have.
I did like a little quiz trivia thing on Instagram in our stories the other day, and it was pretty tough questions.
Oh, those were tough. I struggled.
I always want to challenge people, and I'm like, maybe that's too easy. But then, we have to think about it. We are the ones who are reading the book right now. So if you haven't read it in a few years, that's not a detail you often would remember. So. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, second one. Who gets hit by the Weasley twins' bewitched flying snowballs?
Quirrell.
Good job.
Dun, da, da,
I was hoping, because that is such a little detail that when you read it for the first time, you would never, make anything of it. But it says actually on his
back
of his turban. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like pelting him with like over and over and over. So
and people have talked. Yes, people have talked about how the Weasley twins actually hit Voldemort in the face with snowballs.
Yeah. And it's perfect. It's a great mockery of the Dark Lord. I love it.
It's awesome. Like that little detail. I could just go on and on and on about it. How cool it is to find all these little nitty-gritty.
Yeah, they are. Like as you go through, you're sort of like. I mean, there was a Madame Pince in this chapter later today. I was sort of like, what? Huh? Like little things that pop back out to you that you're like, I forgot who the librarian was for a second.
Yeah. See, here's an extra.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Extra trivia question.
Because I read this one online somewhere and I was like, I don't know. I can't think of it. What's Madame Pince's full or first name?
Ooh.
Do you know? Because I'm going to look it up right now.
Madame Pince.
Oh, you were looking up at the same time. Who's fast? Oh, wow. I don't think
Irma.
I've ever read her full name. Irma. That's cool.
So she's the one they're showing her as the witch that has a really dark hat, a really dark black kind of outfit, sitting next to Snape in Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, I see the picture. Yes. Huh. Oh, that's so cool.
They're saying that is Irma Pince.
That's cool. Hey, we got to do like an extra episode about her because she's one of those characters who just shows up.
Our shorts, one of our
Harry
Potter
hangouts. But who is
she?
She's got a job as a librarian at Hogwarts. I mean, come on, who doesn't want that job?
Right. Oh,
it's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love librarians, and the thought of like an old library, especially a magical library.
Oh yeah.
And working there and just making sure all the books are turned in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely do that. This week we will look out for our vlog. We actually filmed a little vlog for last weekend, in Portland. So that will be a little extra on our Patreon for our Patreons this week.
Yeah, I forgot we did that. Yeah, we just did a little little shindig. Yeah, it was cool.
Just gotta cut it up and edit it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and we might do that from time to time. You said, which is just some fun vlogs or some just different things, for you guys there. So still, we're most of the time. I mean, 90% of the time, we're going to be giving you that extendable year edition. Yeah. But I think throwing those out that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, let us know. We love feedback. We want to give you what you guys enjoy as a little extra. So let us know if you enjoy vlogs more, or if you actually do listen to the extra episode.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just recording an extra half an hour and
but
we
learn a lot from those. That's the cool thing about it is that I enjoy those because we typically take an article or a thought and we like extend it and I don't know. There's more in there than I thought.
There's so much about the universe.
I thought it was going to be like 10 to 15 minutes or like a short extra. Sometimes we go 30, 40 minutes.
I know. We can always expand more.
Mm-hmm. Lottie's like, well, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then did you know this? And it's like, no.
I actually, for that very reason, I actually enjoy listening to Alohomora, their podcast, and like sometimes I go to their episode just to see what they say a little bit. And most of the time, I don't even get to the actual chapter because they do so much before they start the chapter. I mean, we do too, but they get such interesting questions because they have this big forum where people post, and they have like theories and themes and topics there that are so into the world. I get sucked in, and I'm like, there's this, I know, if you've ever listened to them, you probably know what the desk pig is. Sweet. Do you know what the legendary desk pig is that they talked about that for
Is it on Dumbledore's
episodes?
desk?
No, it is the desk that Professor McGonagall in the first Transfiguration lesson, she shows the students what you can do in Transfigurations, and she takes a desk and transfigures it into a pig and then back to a desk. And they have they dissected this pig in terms of, is it life? Did she just create life? Did she kill the pig again when she turns it back into a desk? If you would, kill and eat that pig, would you actually get nutrition from it? Things like that. They get so deep, and I'm like blown away by their discussion. It's just so cool, and that's the dream, to discuss cool things like that. They have now, everyone knows what, their fans know what the desk pig is, all that stuff. Wow. So I thought that was awesome. Anyway, talking about desk pigs, how about a little Magi zoology lesson?
Please.
What, you rescue these creatures?
Yes, that's right. Rescue, nurture, and protect them. I'm gently trying to educate my fellow wizards about them. Come on.
You guys all know we want to know more about Fantastic Beasts, and we want to make Newt proud. So this week, I don't think I've ever heard of it. We'll take a closer look at the Bundyman? Bundyman? How would you say that? Because I've never heard that in the audiobook.
Bundyman.
Yeah, the Bundyman. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not. It sounds like the boogeyman a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Okay. Let's do this. Since you've never heard of it, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? What does it look like? What could it be? What's your
Just based off his name.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The Bundy. It seems like it could be something that's elastic. It's got some bungee.
Hey, not bad.
Features to it, maybe.
I like it.
I don't know, yeah.
Okay, the Bundyman has a classification of 3 X's, which means competent wizards should cope.
Okay.
Bundymans are found worldwide, skilled at creeping under floorboards and behind skirting boards. They infest houses. The presence of a Bundyman is usually announced by a foul stench of decay. The Bundyman oozes a secretion which rots away the very foundation of the dwelling in which it is found. The Bundyman at rest resembles a patch of greenish fungus with eyes. Though when alarmed, it will scuttle away on its numerous spindly legs. It feeds on dirt. Scouring charms will rid a house of an infestation of Bundymans, though if they have been allowed to grow too large, the Department of the Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures, Pest Subdivision, should be contacted before the house collapses. Diluted Bundyman secretion is used in certain magical cleaning fluids.
Okay.
That's cool because it says they feed on dirt. That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
But the description here is, where is it at? Okay, I can't find it right now. Wow, I just read it. I'm just gonna show you a picture.
Sounds good.
Of it. It looks like a fungus with eyes. Mm-hmm. And looking at that picture, I want you to tell me, what do you think? What kind of noise does this thing make? Right?
Probably something like that. Like it looks like a ooze, or like even like a sponge that or coral. Not coral, but like
yes, yeah, yeah, like greenish
something.
Yeah, just a I don't know, bunch of cells and with eyes.
Around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean the question pretty easy to answer. Would you want to have or befriend a bunnyman?
No, I don't think so. Unless it was to keep Blur.
Blur or
Brule. Why do I keep wanting to say Blur?
Because we were Blur.
Oh my gosh. Brule. Unless it was just to keep Brule company. You know what I mean? I think that'd be,
Oh yeah.
like, I think he would enjoy it.
Oh yeah, he would.
So.
Yeah, that would be.
But other than that, nah, I'm out on that guy. It looks kind of weird.
It looks like what's the Pokemon's name? That's like slimy and. Sorry, I definitely know it in German. It's oh my gosh, Grimer is the English name, I think. It's like a
Grimer.
It's like a poisonous Pokemon, and it's purple and looks like a slime ball, or like a. It's just ew, blah. Don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, moving on to the chapter. Which is an interesting chapter, and probably I would crown this. I say it every time. Oh, this is my favorite chapter, but I think I would crown this my favorite chapter of this book.
Wait, you have already said that, haven't you?
I think I might have, but I love this chapter so much because this is when Harry gets his cloak.
Right.
He gets out at night. He finds the mirror. There's some deep stuff in there, and something I want to discuss with you at the end. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to read the summary? Oh, we got to do our game. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Dang.
Gotcha.
Okay,
which means...
I don't know what that means. We always change it. You get to pick whatever you want.
To pick. So, here we go. Actually, you go right on ahead.
Okay.
Young lady. Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be a challenge because I told myself I don't want to edit.
Wow.
Okay. Do you think I can do it?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can. Just take your breaths. Breathe. Wooza.
Summary of Chapter 12, The Mirror of Erised. Christmas is just around the corner at Hogwarts. Snowballs are flying around. The staff is decorating the castle, and most students are packing their things to go home to their families. Harry gladly signs up for staying at Hogwarts, and even Ron and his brothers are staying since Mr. and Mrs. Weasley are traveling to Romania to visit Charlie. The trio is still searching every library book for the ominous Nicholas Flamel. They even try to sneak into the restricted section, but are immediately kicked out by Madame Irma Pins. On Christmas morning, Harry is surprised to find presents next to his bed, while Ron is already opening some packages from his big pile. Sweet Mrs. Weasley made Harry a Weasley sweater. Is Molly Weasley a seer? And someone anonymously sent him his father's invisibility cloak. Ron can't believe it and assures Harry that a cloak like that is very rare and valuable. As soon as they hear people come in, Harry feels the need to quickly hide the cloak and puts it back in its parcel. He is having the best Christmas of his life. He and Ron get in a big snowball fight with Fred and George, and for dinner they enjoy an abundance of delicious festive food, while teachers are starting to loosen up at the staff table.
Goodness.
Back in their dormitories, Ron falls asleep at once, but Harry's mind is racing. The cloak. He could try it on right now and even search the restricted section for Flamel. Wearing the cloak, he makes his way to the library unseen. The first book he opens, though, starts screaming so loud at him that Harry is certain it must have woken up the whole castle. With his cloak, he sprints down the corridors, away from the restricted section, when he suddenly hears Filch's voice. The caretaker is talking to none other than Snape, and both are alarmed by the noise they heard. Harry tries to get as far away from them as he can and finds himself in a room he's never been in before. Here he discovers the Mirror of Erised and its bittersweet power of showing the heart's greatest and most desperate desire. In Harry's case, that means he can see himself surrounded by his parents and family. The following night, he shows Ron the mirror, and Ron sees himself more confident and successful.
Successful.
More confident and successful than any of his older brothers. Scared to get caught, they hurry back to the dormitories, and Ron, although impressed by the image of himself, is not as keen as Harry to get back in front of the mirror. The third night Harry goes out and finds the mirror on his own, someone is already waiting for him there. Dumbledore, who has been secretly watching Harry for the past couple of nights, explains to him what the mirror actually does, and that he now has to move it to a different location. Harry, glad his headmaster isn't mad at him, promises he won't go look for it anymore. When Harry asks Dumbledore, though, what he sees in the mirror, the only answer he gets from the wise old wizard is a pair of socks.
Pair of socks. Well done, love. Well done. I would say that this chapter is really cool. It's really good. When you watch the first movie, actually, it's one of my favorite moments where you kind of have this, like, it's Christmas.
Yes.
And you're staying there for Christmas. Yeah. And for Harry, you would think that this is like, I don't know, is it kind of lonely? You're there with Ron.
No,
but
he
loves it, right? Well, you're not going home to your family. See, it's such a different perspective because some of them are like super excited. School's been tough. They got through. They had their friends, but they need to go back and see their family, their distant cousins, their relatives. They have maybe they have a big family, small family, whatever it might be. Yeah. They go back home and they're having Christmas dinner and stuff like that. Yeah. But you have even the staff too. It's interesting that they are there relaxing, loosening up a little bit.
It's awesome.
So it's almost like you're bonding a little bit with the staff because they're up there letting loose and, enjoying their decorations and everything.
Do you think some of the staff members went home?
Oh, I'm sure some of them did. Yeah.
I think so too. We know now that Professor McGonagall obviously stayed. Hagrid's there. Dumbledore's there.
Right.
That they don't really have like families outside of Hogwarts, which is kind of sad.
Right.
But so sweet though that they, like you said, bond over it. They get, right now, they're just all celebrating Christmas as human beings. There's not as much of a teacher-student hierarchy here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I was wondering because Malfoy, he tries to tease Harry, right? Because Harry doesn't get to go home. And Harry's like, I don't care. It's awesome.
It's awesome,
and Malfoy's one of those people. And we see that later on. He's not that excited about Hogwarts. He's been raised in a magical family. He basically lives in a castle at home. For him, it's just like, well, school.
This is school.
And I just want to, he just wants to go home, be with his mom.
Right, his mom's been sending him cakes and sweets and stuff.
And it's just a totally different experience for him. And he just always said, like, over the years, like, oh, Hogwarts is just, it's getting worse and worse. And my father should do something about it. This place is awful. And he just doesn't like it as much. He doesn't appreciate it as much. And to him, it's not this awesome, magical thing because he's just surrounded by all that at home. Mm-hmm. And for him, it's just like, So very different experience for him, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I kind of wonder, too, like later when things get rough and tough with Malfoy, if he's not more like, I would be okay with staying at Hogwarts. Hogwarts is nicer than home. When later on, when the Death Eaters get involved and things get weird, and he's struggling in Half-Blood Prince, and after the failure of his father, you see like a big shift, and he's such an interesting character. The more I read the story, the more I'm really interested in Malfoy, and I always think about how he wanted to be friends, and how maybe he saw them and thought that'd be kind of cool. I would stay if I were maybe had some friends that were like that had that type of friendship, true friendship. You know what I mean? Because what he has with Crabbe and Goyle, I was just thinking about all the snacks and the sweets that his mom sends him. Yeah. And I'm like, does he pay Crabbe and Goyle in snacks and sweets?
Probably.
I bet he does.
That's actually a good point.
I bet he does. So, I don't know. But this is really cool. So there's a great scene, too, in this where Hagrid is coming in with the Christmas tree. Oh. And it's so big. Yeah. And it's like you can't even see Hagrid behind this tree. Hagrid's massive. Yeah. And the tree he's bringing in is massive. Yeah. It has to fill up all of the, the Great Hall. So it's pretty cool. You see later on, like, Flitwick levitating the golden sort of globes or whatever and raising those up the tree or whatever. So they're decorating that castle, and then students are packing up, getting ready to go. Hermione, even right before, I think at the beginning of this chapter, doesn't she say like they have a little bit of time to go to the library, or maybe it was Because even Ron, I thought it was ironic. Ron's like excited to go, and Hagrid's sort of like, what? The library? What do you? Well, and then they sort of say like, hey, ever since you told us about Nicholas Flamel, he's like, let it go. But no. So they're excited, and they're still looking for all those answers. And I thought it was cool. You mentioned as we were listening to this, they've been looking. They list off the books they've been trying to comb through, and he wasn't in the modern wizards or witches of the 20th century or something like that. I think.
Great wizards of the 20th century or notable magical names of our time.
Yeah.
Missing too from important modern magical discoveries and a study of recent developments in wizardry.
Yeah.
Because they were like, well, if he's alive, he's probably not in the, ancient books anywhere.
Yeah. So interesting. So it was pretty cool. Now here's something. I guess I didn't think about this. So do all the Weasleys stay? So Ron and his brothers are staying since Mr. and Mrs. Weasley are going to Romania. And I guess I wonder, is her name Penelope Clearwater, right?
Yeah.
Did she stay as well?
Oh, I hope for Percy, because he doesn't really have
Yeah, he gets.
I mean, he loves his brothers, but even in this book already, we see he's just different. He's just different from his brothers. And I sometimes feel bad for him. I know later on, he's just being a jerk, but he gets picked on so much, and I actually have that as a point in here. They really bully Percy.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
They do.
With all his successes they don't have, they're like, oh, you're a prefect now. Oh, yeah, remind us again.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that, because that is something, as much as we love the twins and they joke and they mess around or whatever, I had an old friend who was the jokester. People liked him, was smart, was clever, had his own sort of thing or whatever. But anybody who was better in any area than he was, he typically would make jokes, but not just a joke or two, like a lot of jokes, to the point where it was like, okay, it's actually not funny anymore. And even the jokes that you do make are a little personal, right? Because it's something that it's touchy, because it's something that you love, that you enjoy. Yeah. And you're like, okay, you're making fun of me for being a prefect, but shouldn't I be proud of that? Isn't it okay to be happy that you made that?
Yeah.
Why is he picked on for that? So it is a dynamic that's interesting about the Weasleys, the twins, because they have each other.
They do. They always have each other as best friends almost. Right. Yeah.
And I get that they don't fit in necessarily, and there's a lot to live up to with the three older brothers. And then so even Ron then looking up to the twins, because that's what he kind of thinks, is that you've got Bill, Charlie, and Percy, who have done all these awesome things. And you've got the Weasley twins who, everybody likes them because they're funny, and they've come up with this sort of persona that is that works for them.
But I think that's their own struggle, that they do things that their mom, and sometimes dad even don't really appreciate,
and they don't praise them
what
for.
And that's where it all comes from, because later on they bully or they make fun of Ron when he gets to be a prefect. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. But so what's happening right now too is he is we can talk about this, I guess, is he is whoa, I always thought he ended up with Penelope Clearwater, but I guess he doesn't.
Later on, you mean in life?
Yeah, in life. This is his girlfriend, Penelope Clearwater, throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
But he actually ends up with someone, Audrey Weasley. Maiden name unknown, was the wife of Percy Weasley. The couple had 2 daughters, Molly and Lucy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right. Isn't that kind of cool?
Oh my gosh, Molly.
Yeah, Molly and Lucy.
Oh my gosh, that that breaks my heart, because he was
all the strife he had with his mom. He loved his mother and stuff, and it was tough. I actually think a lot of this, she's proud of him, she loves him, and he's trying to do what's right or whatever. But a lot of it, when you think in terms of a middle brother, he fits in that category.
Yeah,
also.
I think so too. Yeah,
and he's trying to live up to those guys, and he's the last one who's really trying to live up to his 2 older brothers. Whereas the other ones are we're paving our own pathway here.
Yeah, and Ron has Harry and this whole story.
Yeah.
Percy is and he messed up for in terms of what his family thought of him, and he was on the wrong side, even though he didn't see that at the time. But yeah, you're right, Percy.
Yeah. So I don't know, just an interesting, just interesting that he's Yeah, that he's there as well, and I was wondering if Penelope was there. Maybe even says that, and I'm just sort of misremembering. But just cool. They're all there together, and they, you know, and it's like the twins have a moment where they're like, "Come on, Perce," you know, it's like we're family, you know, put your sweater on. Here we go. We're all wearing them. That type of thing. That actually kind of reminds me of like my sister's vibe, which is like when I don't want to do something, she's like, "Come on, we're all doing it.
Yeah.
Like, don't, you're not getting out of this." And that's good to have somebody to kind of push you along in that regard. So. Yeah, pretty cool. Now, and we're going to kind of move through the chapter a little bit quick just because we're on a little bit of a timer here today. But if it seems like we're going a little fast, just because we got a lot going on, try to get caught up.
Hi, but that's your chance to write us an email. We'll read it. If you say, you didn't cover that, and I think that's super interesting, I would love to talk about that.
Please
send us an email, an owl.
We'll read anything.
Don't send Errol.
Yeah, send a different owl. So yeah, but there's this whole, you know, Harry. The big thing is Christmas, right? So we have Christmas morning, and we have the delivery of presents. We have the sweaters, as you said, the emerald green sweater, which I would now remember. It didn't have his letter on it though, did it? It didn't have.
I think that was the thing, because then Gred and Forge said they can they can remember their names.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, but they didn't have letters on theirs either, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did. Okay. But Harry did not.
Yeah, I think no. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Not yet. Maybe later on. He will.
Later on. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, he's kind of like looking through his packages, looking through his stuff. Super pumped about this. Yeah. Didn't expect it. Actually, gets a 50-cent piece from Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon. Which the fact that they sent anything
they sent
surprising.
Something. I was so when I read this the first time. So surprised. There is something. Right. There's something is going on.
I almost think Petunia just wanted to send it, and then how did she send it?
Did they send it?
Did they send it now?
Don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, they must have. How did they send it, guys?
I think she just wanted to try it out.
Oh my god.
Right.
I mean, she probably knew how her parents sent Lily stuff.
Probably. There's
so
probably
I feel like
way.
She would know how to.
Because how does Hermione get communications from her family?
I bet they have
I'm
owls.
looking this up. I bet. Well, you know, like Hermione's mom. Like, I guess you could. I mean, they absolutely could. But it's just like how do they, if they wanted to instigate the letter correspondence situation, what do? Get an owl, a regular owl, and say, Hogwarts, here you go, Hermione, right? And they put it in there.
You just write it on the letter. Yeah, I don't know. So I think they did send owls. But while you're looking this up, I just want to mention again how beautifully written this is. Just the Christmas morning, and Harry gets, we feel with Harry that he didn't expect anything. He was just looking forward to having a wonderful day, a feast at Hogwarts. Everything's covered in snow. His best friends are around. And he knew it was going to be the best Christmas of his life just because. And I think that's beautiful because as you get older, you realize, wow, Christmas is not about presents or anything. I mean, it's cool to make someone smile and happy, giving them something that made you think of them, and just being the person who gives is actually more rewarding than getting something later on.
Yeah. And
it's all about getting together, having a good time, having time off of work, and just enjoying, a good meal together. And I love that Harry didn't even think about the presents or anything. And and then he had a small pile there. And how awesome it is to Hagrid send him something. Like, I mean, the flute, that gets pretty important later on.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. But, what was Hagrid's thought? Had Harry ever mentioned that he liked music or liked playing?
Does he do some woodwork or whatever with that?
I think he does. I think he's pretty
handy.
Good, pretty handy, yeah.
And in the first movie, throughout the series, they actually do that sort of flute Harry Potter tune.
Oh, I love that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and they actually play it on like a flute like that or whatever.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Which is pretty neat. And then we get the big one, which is Dumbledore's package.
Yes.
Huge invisibility cloak, people.
Yep. And
one of the Deathly Hallows showing up in book 1. Put that bad boy on and let's go conquer the world. I mean,
I know.
Just kidding.
I have actually something pulled up here, but do you have the answer? Did you look it up? What?
Yeah, and everyone is really just kind of concerned with who. How did the students who were not in the Wizarding world get their letters? But no one's really asking the question or even answering the question about how did if Hermione's parents wanted to send a letter, they can get letters from her, sure enough, but how do they say, I just thought of something. Let's send our daughter X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
What's the
if you don't have an owl,
the mechanisms? I mean, unless they bought an owl and were told by a professor, like, hey, you can use this to communicate.
Yeah, but Petunia definitely didn't buy an owl.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
you're right. That's a big mystery.
Right. Who's keeping?
We have to keep talking about that. Hey, if you have any ideas how Petunia would have sent it, please let us know.
Yeah, what are the ways? Yeah, like how possible? What's the possibility? Because they're not going to keep an owl around, and like, are they going to request an owl to show up at their house?
Now I have a theory. What if they give all the Muggle families who don't have an owl, or even wizarding families who just don't want to keep an owl around? I mean, there's probably not a lot, but since it's the main way to send letters around. But what if they give them an address to say, here, send that to that post office.
Ooh.
And that's run by wizards who give that to you. I mean, you can write on the letter who goes to, and then you just write Hogwarts and Harry Potter or something.
And they have the owls.
They have all the owls, and they manage the whole thing.
Oh my gosh. So like there's a trail that you and I walk on, and as we walk past it, there's actually a bird sort of observatory or whatever situation, like a thing, and they have a lot of owls, and you can study owl pellets and crazy stuff, whatever. We did it in elementary school, but they have several owls over there.
Ooh.
Makes me think that's one of those locations.
That's just disguised.
It's just down from Kenyon College, which is also kind of
a
Gothic style,
That's awesome.
Wizarding thing. So maybe those people, it's a front. You're thinking, they just study these animals and these creatures, but really they're a part of the postal service.
Yep.
I like that.
That's how I would imagine that, because that makes it a lot easier.
It's a great fix. Yeah. So, let's see, to get through the rest of my stuff here. So we have
the cloak.
Ron is pumped. He's super pumped about the cloak, and just the fact that it's super important. And Ron recognizes, being a member of the Wizarding world, how important that cloak is.
And how rare those are.
Yes.
Like, he's the first one to recognize that. Yeah. And real quick, while I was reading that, I really wanted to make the connection again, how the cloak was passed on from generation to generation and how it came to be Harry's in the end. So I just wanted to read that real quick. According to the legend, Ignotus Peverell, so that was Harry is descendant from the Peverells. So Ignotus Peverell was given the cloak by death in the 13th century. That's according to the legend, as a reward for having bested him. However, in his introduction to the tales of Beedle the Bard, Albus Dumbledore speculated that it is more likely that Ignotus and his brothers were highly talented wizards, right? So they just created the Hallows themselves, probably. Whatever the truth, the cloak became a family heirloom and was inherited by Ignotus's descendants, including James Potter and eventually his son Harry Potter, who was given it as a gift on Christmas Day 1991, which is this chapter. In 1997, Ron was the first to speculate that Harry's cloak was the cloak of legend, since it was still in perfect condition despite being at least 2 generations old. Other cloaks of similar age would have worn out, or at least become less effective. And Harry's son, later on in Cursed Child, James Sirius Potter, inherited the cloak of invisibility. His younger brother, Albus Severus, stole it from James when he needed to hide from bullies or from Professor McGonagall.
Whoa.
That's kind of cool. So it was Ignotus Peverell, then Ignotus Peverell's son, and then we know it passed a few generations until James got it. And eventually, that's when people have asked, so why didn't he use it when Voldemort came? But Albus Dumbledore was already in possession of the cloak, because at the time of his death, before that, he wished to inspect it further. He kept the cloak in his possession until Harry began school at Hogwarts in 1991, and now he sent it to him.
Okay.
So,
theory, like a little bit of theory.
Yeah.
Was he gathering as many Hallows as he could to take on Tom Riddle?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe he was preparing for like this thing.
I mean,
There's a prophecy, hide the Potters, but then like, boom, let's go.
Yeah. It's kind of he wanted to do the best thing for the Wizarding world, but we sometimes think about it. Well, what did he think? Like, if they had the cloak at that time, could they have hidden from Voldemort? I almost think like no, because it doesn't. It just makes you invisible. You're still there.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I don't think, and this is something I've always thought.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually know what all the powers are for the Hallows. I think just like when the Deluminator is pulled out, right? By Dumbledore, we think that's what it does. Pulls out lights. But then at the end, it's doing something super crazy. Yeah. And J.K. Rowling took it a whole different direction. Ron uses it, clicks it open, and is transported. Follows that, like apparates. Follows a ball of light to Hermione. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you have a situation where like we didn't know the golden snitch could even open, or that it had an inside, and that it had a flesh memory. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like she actually has levels already built into these things. So for me, I wonder, like, if you put the invisibility cloak on, is it also a different, like a cloak of protection, almost like a shield charm, right?
I mean,
Avada Kedavra, could it pass through it?
I mean, according to legend, that's how one of the brothers escaped death.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that it would repel like a killing curse. Honest to God, like, I think so.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't think so. That would make.
Other powers.
I mean, maybe it's an undiscovered power, but that would make it so powerful. And I almost think that Dumbledore, since he inspected it for quite a while, I mean, look how he had it when they died, and he gave it to Harry when he was 11, so he had it for at least 12 years.
It's used to escape death.
Yeah.
And so to me, the killing curse is death.
I know, but the legend says he hid from death. But
I understand, but that's and so I'm sort of saying, like, that's why I brought up the Deluminator, and it's just a theory. You're allowed to totally disagree with it, which is fine. But it's just like, to me, she builds in these extra powers, just like the Resurrection Stone. What's its point? How does that make you the master of death? How does it get you closer to death? Oh, because you can bring people like these weird ghostly figures back and talk to them. You can communicate with the spirits and maybe learn something from them or something, or get a little power, but you don't really get anything from that. Like, the only one that really would be worth it then, I mean, the invisibility cloak is awesome, but how is it better than other invisibility cloaks? If they're and they can do disillusion charms. They can literally like they said that Dumbledore could honestly do a charm.
Doing that.
He could do it so well that he didn't even need an invisibility cloak.
Yeah, he says it in this chapter.
So what's the point of having that Hallow if it doesn't have an extra power?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's just what I've always thought. I've always just felt like, if you're the master of death, well, what could help you overcome the killing curse? How could it help you avoid that? And what is all three of them together? You know what I mean? If you have the Resurrection Stone, the Elder Wand, and you have you're the master of death, but what does that mean? Yeah. And how does it work? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make... Because even though Harry has the cloak, I don't know. It just...
They can definitely help.
They help you, but it just... The lore and the legend is... They're just powerful items.
Yeah, they're powerful, and they almost, if you know how to use them, they're supposed to make you invincible.
I just feel like there is something more to each of them, and that there's obviously different lore. Like we learn along the way with the Elder Wand, that has a fickle alliance. There's something extra about it. So, like, what about the invisibility cloak? Does it have any sort of allegiance or alignment? Does it have anything like that? I don't know. We just don't. Is it just a cloak? Yeah. I mean, they do say that it's a better version. It's like a super hardcore, like it really, really, really concealed you.
Yeah, everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everything. There's no. Yep.
So, which is kind of cool. But I don't know, just food for thought, just something to think about as we get the invisibility cloak, and then Harry uses it, as you said, to sneak down to the restricted section. Books screaming at him.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Does Madam Pince sleep in the library? Did she hear that? Like, right? What is going on?
Do you know who definitely heard it? And that makes me think, like, I know why people speculate whether Snape's actually a bat. Because when does he ever sleep? He seems to be there when Harry's out at night, like, every single time. Does he ever sleep?
Yeah,
or is he always on duty when
he stays up late, doesn't he?
Every time. And he has a special bond in this book with Filch. Every time we see him lingering around Filch, or other way around probably, Filch lingering around him, he probably set him up to, like, hey, I got some suspicions here. Can you help me? I don't know. They seem to be closer. Yeah. All right. But what I want to discuss here, super interesting to me, and like the main point of the chapter, right? The chapter's named The Mirror of Erised. Harry fleeing from Filch and Snape, he ends up in a room accidentally, and he discovers the mirror of Erised, which is actually spelled backwards, the mirror of desire.
Cool.
And we learned that the
Trivia
mirror...
question. Didn't know that. I think I did at one point, but forgot it. So that's cool.
Oh yeah, if you read the entire inscription in the mirror, it's all backwards saying something, which I don't have here right now. But you can use the mirror to figure, which is I think pretty cool. I think you could use the mirror to figure out your heart's desire and then use the image you see for like manifestation practice, but only if it is actually achievable what you desire. Like in Harry's case, he could never do that. So I'm just saying, I know Dumbledore says the mirror is not, as great as it seems, but for some it can actually help figure out what do you how people sometimes don't know what they want, and that kind of can help you figure out what is it that you really truly desire, which can help. But in Harry's case, it's just really, really sad because he could never have that.
Yeah, for sure.
And
for sure. The inscription says, "I show not your face, but your heart's desire."
Oh, there you go.
So, and that's it backwards. So yeah, Erised. Wow.
Yeah.
Desire.
And then I was wondering, so Harry goes there alone. He gets so excited. He shows Ron. Ron's like, wow, cool. They kind of figure out they see different things. So this is where they get like, oh, it's not showing just your family. And Ron is like, it's again, like his biggest desire is just to be successful and to be even better than his brothers, to be seen, to be someone special.
Yeah.
And but the main difference is he's like not as keen to get back there. He's like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome. I mean, I love the image of myself, but at the same time, it's like it's not worth it for him to get out at night to almost be caught. And then
what does that say though? What does that mean? Like that Ron doesn't want to go back there as much. That means the desire, right? That Harry's desire is way more intense.
Definitely.
I think for Ron, like it's almost like when you ask a kid, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And like right at the moment, they think about it, a professional athlete, and then they roll with that, and then 2 weeks later, I'd like to be a doctor or a scientist. And so that desire that they want is changing. It's molding. But Harry has had a traumatic past, and like that's something he's thought about for years and desired above all. Like what I mean? That desire is greater and draws him back there. And it's also unattainable. It's a desire that is not attainable.
That's why it's probably even more where he wants to go back every time, because he knows otherwise he can never have that. Like nowhere else he can see his family. That's why he has this strong desire to go back and see it. But what would be interesting is if they looked into the mirror right now, what would they see? Like I think it's cool because Alohomora, they talked a little bit about some of them speculated, oh, maybe Ron would just see himself because he's probably pretty happy, like being stay-home dad, and Hermione, his wife. But I think, I think you can be truly happy, but still desire something, even if it's if it's like your greatest desire is that your children are healthy and good, and that can be something. I feel like
he could look into it and see himself growing old and watching his children having grandchildren.
Yeah, I think that you almost always see something other than just your reflection. Yeah.
Here's one I would say that probably Harry might look back, and like if he were to go back and look at it, and as he's grown, he might even see old Dumbledore there, wishing he could talk to him one more time. Oh. You know what I mean? Or say something more to somebody else, because he's that person who, when he loses people, he wishes he had more time with them.
Yeah.
He didn't have the time he wanted with his mom and dad, so he very much values and reflects and thinks about that. And I think about that too. So it's something that I think about, like having more time with my mom, or having a chance to talk to her one more time, or have her meet you and stuff like that. Like I think that would be something that Harry would wish. I wish that he in the magical sense you kind of can get that, but like to meet Jenny or to his kids and stuff, it's just something to think about. Or talking to your professors. I often bring up some of my old school teachers who have passed away, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe they put up with me. And it'd be nice to have one more conversation with them and just to say something kind. So that's another desire that you could have.
And definitely something that you can only get in the mirror.
Yeah,
that image, because you can never.
And it's really just an image. There's really no interaction there. It's just a feeling.
Reflection of your heart's desire. Because it's a mirror. Yeah. Question for you though, as we're getting to the end here, and it's getting pretty interesting, I promise. First of all, why was Dumbledore there?
Why was he there? Yeah.
Because I have thought about it. I do not think that he... Well, maybe after he gave Harry the cloak, do you think he followed him around to kind of figure out what he would do with it? Or do you think he was just in the room a lot of times to guard the mirror almost? Or was he there because he had a desire to look into the mirror?
I think it could be a combination of all those things, but I think practically he probably, even well after the first book, into book 2, 3, 4, and so on, I know it's, moved and whatever later, but like he probably put a proximity charm, like alert around it to let him know when someone's there.
Yeah.
Actually, someone has found it. Okay, now he goes down. Who found? And he goes and it was Harry.
Okay.
Let me see if
that's
I can be
interesting.
there the next time. I think he would. I think he would keep an eye on it. But why keep it at all? What's its purpose in the school? That's where I think it gets personal to him. So
because we don't really know. He obviously probably told a lie that he doesn't really, because Harry asked him the socks. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
why burden a little kid with your...
In this moment, when you don't know Dumbledore that well, and you feel like he's this little old, wise, but a little oddball, you would almost think like, oh, maybe he actually does see socks, and he's pretty happy and stuff like that, yeah. People have speculated about Grindelwald, his family, Ariana, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know. But yeah, it's fun to speculate. But that leads me to the main point here. And I'm so proud I thought about this, because then I heard it on Alohomora. They said it too.
Okay.
That here's something that does not necessarily make sense. Because you're thinking, okay, the mirror, he hid the stone in the mirror, right? And the mirror is in this room. Empty classroom, just sitting there, which is actually genius if you want to hide something. Obviously, no one would expect it's just there for everyone to access in an old classroom.
Yeah.
But then what was Fluffy and all the other enchantments guarding this whole time if Dumbledore hid the stone in the mirror? Or was the mirror, because he said it, and now he has to move it to a different place. So either the stone was at that point not in the mirror and was just sitting there in the dungeons or something, not in the dungeons, but in that deep down underneath the school on its own. And just, that's why they needed heavy protection. And then maybe later on, he thought about it in this moment. Now we're going to use it to actually put the stone in there. Or was he just thinking, okay, we guard something so everybody thinks it's there where it's guarded, but actually it's here in the mirror and everyone could technically access it, and that's why no one would ever think it's there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, just I get what you're saying is like you set up all these protections with the professors, but it's really just been there in the mirror the whole time. I was always under the assumption that it was something that he thought of later. Like, that he hadn't thought of the mirror, and the only reason he thinks of it is because Harry goes there. And I've always felt like
that's why he gets
whether he's monitoring him or not, he starts to think, this old mirror, I wonder what I could do. Could I add this in as some layer of protection, because he knows it's already been something's fishy going on. Someone's already trying to steal it. He can tell that. He can tell that from Quirrell. Snape and he are working together. The troll has entered, and there was an attempted robbery at Gringotts, which is in the news. So Dumbledore knows someone's after it. So I think he, is thinking about it like, I didn't make sure this is well protected, and So I could go either way. I could see it happening either way.
Could Dumbledore go down and use it and get it? Do you think he could look in the mirror, want it, like as his greatest desire, and not wanting to use it?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I think it's exactly why he has it.
Okay.
That's why Nicholas Flamel trusts him with it, because he is, in a sense, a master of death, and that he, at the end, the Peverell brothers, right, the third one, wants to go with death as a friend. And I feel like Dumbledore is beyond that point, which is why he has such a confidence as a wizard. He's lived all these different years and battled Grindelwald, and then now he's battled Tom Riddle, and then he's still here around. He's done so much for the wizarding world that I feel like he's good. He's settled, right? And he wants to teach the last thing here now is to try to help the Potters, because I think he feels a little responsible for things that happen. I think he was trying to get the Deathly Hallows, and I think he wanted to, go take on Tom Riddle, his former like student, and write this and finish this.
Yeah, this is his big mission.
Yeah, and so that didn't happen. He creates the Order of the Phoenix, and then the Potters are killed, the Longbottoms are tortured, people died.
Yeah.
So I think he's trying to right that wrong before he goes. Yeah. And then he's also trying to save this boy. That's the thing. He's always trying to help, and he's always trying to, even Malfoy, right? The whole thing later on.
I love that, yeah.
I love that, right? Which is just that, like, we can help more. He's an innocent still. He's being used. He's being manipulated by whether it's his parents or the Dark Lord or whatever, his aunt, and so on. It's just he's concerned about that, and he's there for the students, which has always been huge. That's why we love him so much.
We do, and I think we just talked about this, how even though you have done something that you're probably not proud of, like Dumbledore has done things in his life that he's not proud of, don't hold that against him all the rest of his life, because people can change,
people evolve,
and they can regret things and try to be a better person from now on. And I think that's what he does, even though like people still think it's questionable how, he used Harry, but at the same time he loved Harry. And he always tried to, that's what we talked about, is his big mission to protect the wizarding world, to get rid of Tom Riddle and bring peace again.
And it's like, it wasn't necessarily in the chapter, but I kind of feel like that is sort of as we drift into our advice of the week or whatever here. So we're going to move into that, because I think like a lot of what you just said was very much would fit, very, very fitting for like the advice of the week or whatever. So I just kind of feel like, it is sort of, don't, like, if someone, we change, we evolve, we grow, that's what we want. I feel like a lot of times people look at someone, or like I think about myself as a teacher, my first, second year, there's a lot of people I still teach with who still see me as a first, second year teacher because of something I did or something that happened during that year, where they're like, they always want to cap you and put you, like, put your ceiling there at that second year, but they don't want to see your growth. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let people not, do that to you. You're allowed to learn and grow and evolve. That's the whole point. And so I hate when we see, and so in social media, probably shouldn't use the word hate, but I very much dislike that people will see someone and try to, quash them at first instead of educate them and help them move, like help them get to where you want, where you think they should be. If they don't want that, okay, maybe years from now they come back and they say, wow, I had to learn the hard way, or like, you were the first person to come to me, but 5 more people came, and I figured out like I was way off on that. Yeah,
and we should give people a chance to change, or to
people are in different places at different times.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of comes up. How does that fit to this chapter? It really kind of comes up through Dumbledore and us drifting into those conversations where like he grew a lot. We saw in Fantastic Beasts all the growing that he does. We see how the Hermione and Ron grow in their friendship, and Harry, right? Yeah. And then how they'll kind of evolve over the years. And Draco, I really think about Draco a lot too. It's sort of like people want to hardcore judge him here, but like look at 19 years later at the end of all of this. Yeah. And here he's trying to live this normal life. He's got this dark past, and he's got kids going to Hogwarts. Yeah. So
even just him and his mom and dad in the movie walking away, I love that scene. Yeah. It's so heartwarming.
People can get wrapped up in the wrong stuff, and you hope and you root for them to come back. And I'm not saying you have to like accept their mean acts or any of their, like, if there's hate or whatever. I'm not saying anything at all like that. We definitely should not. But it's like, I don't know. I want people to, I want to keep rooting for people and hope that they're going to
just practice a little forgiveness too.
Yeah. Like and grace. Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry guys, we're kind of keeping this a little bit short. I got to roll right into my Rings of Power discussion, which is going to be, I'm going to be up till 1 o'clock in the morning. The later I start it. So we love you guys, and I just wanted to get this chapter out to you guys, and it's a really important one. Lottie loves it. I love it. I love the feels of Christmas and walking around on our cloaks and stuff. So.
And I have not talked about it enough, but this is in the computer game Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, and you go through the restricted section with your cloak. That's like my favorite thing, because it was so scary as a kid. Okay, because I really wanted to mention it in this chapter.
Yeah. No, I did. Yeah. I can't wait for you to play that. I'd love for us to fire that up and figure it out. I don't.
Even our attorney, she was like, "Yeah, I watched a trailer of Hogwarts Legacy, and I just thought about you guys."
Oh yeah, I know. I know. It's awesome. I can't wait to play that game either. So. Yeah, we need more Harry Potter stuff in our lives, honestly. So that's why we do the podcast, why we go back and re-experience all of it. So, yeah. Okay, well, hey, friends, that is all for this week. Thanks for tuning in to Shell Cottage Radio 94.7 COZY. We hope you'll join us in the future. We thoroughly enjoy meeting new positive Potter people that don't behave like babbling, bumbling bams of baboons. If you don't want to miss the next episode, then be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and follow on social media at Fleur and Bill.
Yeah, thanks for hanging around. Also, we want to invite you, as always, to check out our YouTube channel, Harry Potter Hangout, if you aren't already listening to the episode on there. We're having a lot of fun creating short videos there, covering more Wizarding World background information and theories. And if you truly enjoy our content, consider supporting our growing Wizarding family on Patreon at Fleur and Bill. Thank you so much to all our current Patreons. We appreciate you to the moon and back. Next week, we will discuss Chapter 13 of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Nicholas Flamel. Finally. So definitely don't miss out on next week's episode. Again, thanks for joining Blur's Book Club in their little shell cottage today. We know it's not much, but it's home.